So the question is even stronger or even more important for us to clarify when it comes to the rights of society uh, to to actively uh, conduct activities of religious nature, and especially it is guaranteed under the federal constitution. So how far that particular element of religious activities, which is considered as a moral uh, freedom, yeah, in our society, and how far that we should regulate that behavior or activities that occurs in our society. Uh, okay, we'll be looking at another example. Then you look at this situation whereby a couple is making out in the bus. It is a public environment, and if you look at other people, they are obviously aware of the situation. You look at the two men is looking at each other, and I don't know what is in their mind, but I can see that disgusted. As far as the woman, the foreground, the woman is looking on, and I mean, quite surprised looking at it. But those at the back wouldn't care less, right? So the subject of the argument is whether the law should what do you call it, interfere with this situation. What is the position of law? Whether the act is considered as moral or not, whether the act is considered legal or not, and that is the question that we are looking into. Because if that situation is considered as immoral and also illegal, then the law should be able to come in. Yeah, we have incident whereby uh, a couple which is non-Muslim kissing in public, whether we should interfere with that particular conduct, or to what extent. If we were to interfere with a particular activity of people who are not Muslim, to what extent that we are able to interfere? Are we to interfere to regulate their moral conduct, meaning how they behave, how they should wear their clothes, whether we should enforce them to wear, tudung or not, or hijab, as we can see in countries that restrict this so-called freedom. So this is a question that we have to or actually persist in our society, because later on, as a as a person that is holding power in your hands, you should be able to put a line. Yeah, in order for you to put a line to justify, so you might be the east or the odd, right? So you might be inclined towards the east, you might also incline toward the odd, some of you, so which one is true? So this has to be identified, though it would not be something of a solution, a definite solution that we can say that, okay, this is the one that we have to apply, and then the question is being resolved. But it is something that is going on, which, as I mentioned, this is going on for thousands of years. So what we need to do is to be able to understand the situation. And obviously, you might say in your mind, why should I be bothered with all these kind of things? Let some other people resolve this. But the we are not coming with a solution. We are coming with the argument whether that particular activities should be regulated or not. And as a law person or knowledge of law, then you should be able to curb, you know the you are to curb those who are east, those who are odd. We have activities in our society where some quarters of our society is believing in the behavior that we should apply. For example, if you look at past members, people who believe in political party of past, they have a certain standard that they want the society to behave. You know, I can relate, which I already relate to you earlier on, that my wife, when she was at Merbok, she was, not forced but influenced, mentally influenced by her colleagues, those who are there, to wear socks, you know. Then I definitely ask them, or ask her to tell them that the freedom is given by my husband. If you want to ask me to do something, to wear my socks or anything, you just go and see him and he will answer you, right? Nobody dares to come and see me because they know I would never, be dictated by somebody else, right? So because to me, religion is something that you are to do it because you want to do it, not because you are being forced to do it. Forcing to do is something that nobody believes in, right? You can do it, you can be forced to do it, but something that is in your heart to say that you don't believe. Yeah. So I don't believe in forcing people, but you do it because something that you realize it is for the benefit, to avoid people to be, attracted to you. So another example which I wanted to highlight is the, I can't remember already since I brought that. Just sharing you with the situation. For past members, right? So past members, we have the case of Muhammad bin Daud, right? So they actually influence the society about how to behave with respect to the political parties, other political parties. Last time, PAS said DAP is a group or parties that should not be aligned to, it is not non-aligned to Islamic principle. And at one time, as I mentioned, Muhammad bin Daud, so you see in that particular case whereby PAS has influenced the society to have a labeling, yeah, towards Barisan Nasional, saying that Barisan Nasional people are, uh, you know, apostate, people who are non-believers of Islam. So they are Islamic principle of people, right? They are no longer Muslim, right? More or less, to say that. So because of that, we have the two imams, right? Two Salat Jumaat in that situation. So, but now their stand differs, where they are now joining the Barisan Nasional to rule the country, right? So this is something that we as a society, especially those who believe in law, have to clear our mind in terms of what is and what is ought. The morality standard that someone apply to us, whether we should be should we succumb to that particular pressure, or to what extent that we say no, enough is enough. So this is where I want you guys to be able to stand on your own, to be able to do a critical analysis, looking at the situation, whether the act of a certain group of people or certain person towards you or any other person, whether they have the authority to do that, and if they were to have some authorities, to what extent the authorities is supposed to be stopped, or the limit of that authority. Because if you allow things to happen as people wants it to be, and it will never stop, it will never stop, because you are letting somebody decide what you need to do. And I just want to relate another incident recently. Both of us, me and my wife, we were in a group, yeah, called the surau of our place, comprises of roughly about 80 people, you know. There was suggestion by a minority of the member of the group to ensure that the surau is to be maintained by each level, according to the number of according to the days, yeah. So we argued in saying that no, why should we do that? Because we have already paid the maintenance, and the one that is to do maintenance for the surau or cleaning up to take care of the surau are those that we pay our service, right? So we pay for the service, we pay for the cleanliness, or the act of cleaning up the surau. Why should we be forced to do it? I argue in saying that Islam is not something of a religion that force people to do certain things. You do it because you know the benefit of doing it, but not forcing to do it and letting somebody else to judge you, based on whether you have done it or whether you agree or not. So people would like to put standard, and if you are not to do it, then obviously they would label you as non-conformity people, where you will be imposed certain action like casting out or being labeled, distancing in terms of punishment, in terms of the what do you call it, um, not letting you into the what they call it, the relationship. That is something that occurs in our society. People came out and try to put their standard towards you, and they say that this is something that you should do, meaning you should do. They are trying to impose the regulation, their own regulation, to put it as for you to abide, which is wrong. Yeah, for me, I would see it as wrong. But now I'm giving you the opportunity. Obviously, by learning jurisprudence, you should be able to free your mind and look at the situation, analyze the situation, and determine what is the position. And if you don't put up and argue, then yeah, you might suffer. It might not be now, it might be 10 years from now, it might be 100 years from now, where such activities become slow. Yeah, as you can see from our standard of traditions, sometimes or most of the time, any activities of moral standard, yeah, of the society, eventually in our society becomes low. This is not something that we are to allow to happen. If it's something that is being determined by the state, being determined by the parliament, then that is different issue, right? Because we elected those people to represent us in the parliament to find out whether such activities is to be considered legal or not, but not letting a group of people which we never recognize as someone to representing us in terms of law, right? So if they want to control the society, they have to be in power in order for them to change. And if they were to make that change, it depends on the society whether they want to let that so-called people to be in power, as what we have done towards our previous government. We change them because we don't like what they are doing.